economic and social situation is very different in the European Union's 271 regions. The main objective of the EU's cohesion policy is to reduce these gaps by promoting economic growth, job creation and competitiveness. Over the past 10 years, the EU's cohesion policy has contributed towards the creation of over 1 million jobs, invested in training to improve the skills of over 10 million people every year, and co-financed the construction of over 5,000 kilometres of motorways and 8,000 kilometres of railways. It has also ensured the provision of clean drinking water for 20 million more people and helped set up at least 800,000 small and medium-sized companies. This has been made possible by the European Regional Development Fund, the Cohesion Fund and the European Social Fund, which together represent more than 1/3 of the EU budget. The policy is reviewed by the EU institutions and member states once every 7 years, before being implemented by member states and regions. The proposals for cohesion policy from 2014 are designed to help achieve the Europe 2020 strategy objectives of smart, sustainable and inclusive economic growth. A common strategic framework will ensure that the three funds of the cohesion policy, together with the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development and the European Maritime and Fisheries Fund, will support and achieve the EU 2020 objectives. From 2014 to 2020, cohesion policy will focus on fewer priorities and target EU investments towards new sectors to keep Europe more competitive and to deliver growth and jobs. It will also invest in people by reinforcing the European Social Fund and by placing greater emphasis on social inclusion and tackling youth unemployment. To ensure the money is spent wisely, future cohesion policy will focus on objectives and results, with greater emphasis on evaluation and incentives for effective projects. Between 2014 and 2020, cohesion policy will become more effective, with simplified procedures and harmonised rules. It will also become easier for regions to work together across borders, with increased funding for territorial cooperation. These changes should help to bring out the best in every region, making them more competitive and creating more jobs for millions of Europeans. Communicating the results of the EU's cohesion policy is essential so that excellent projects can be recognised and Europeans can see exactly how their money is being spent.
Europe's regions account for a big chunk of the EU budget. The EU's regional policy, also known as cohesion policy, helps the poorest and most vulnerable regions and boosts job creation and economic growth. The EU disperses cohesion funds, the aim of which is to reduce disparities between different regions in terms of income, wealth and opportunities. At a time of prolonged economic crisis, cohesion funds are seen as a vital tool to help citizens and regions to recover. EU regional development policy incorporates some aspects of agricultural funding, but aside from farming, the cohesion funds consist of two main instruments, the European Regional Development Fund and the European Social Fund. These funds operate in slightly different ways, but they have broadly the same objective: to improve citizens' well-being through investments in infrastructure, job creation and economic development. The European Commission has just proposed a new cohesion policy framework for the next medium-term EU budget, starting in 2014. However, one of the issues the Commission has raised for the next medium-term EU budget is the principle of conditionality. The Commission wants to be able to deny or withdraw funding from member states whose budgetary policies are not sufficiently rigorous. This is because cohesion funds made available by the EU must generally be matched with co-financing in the member states, and the Commission wants to ensure national governments can meet their commitments. But cohesion funds are targeted at regions, not at member states. And as the rapporteur explains, the idea of conditionality has caused alarm in many regions that rely on such funding.
This is a hot potato, to say, because now we have strict rules to the budget of the national states. And there is a proposal that's really reasonable, I think, that the funds might be blocked if national states don't fulfill these agreements. But, you know, those representatives from regions say to me, Lambert, how can we be punished although the state made these mistakes?
The Commission is also proposing to simplify access to cohesion funding by bringing the different funds under the umbrella of a single regulation and reducing the bureaucracy that applicants face.
Making sure that Europeans have the right skills for the right jobs is a big challenge, and one that the European Union and its member states are tackling together through the European Social Fund. Every year, the EU dedicates more than 10 billion euros to the European Social Fund, to which the member states add their share. This money is used by those organisations who are best placed to understand what's needed locally. Improving education. Creating new job opportunities and supporting businesses. Supporting people to start their own business. Investing in better public services. Helping people to learn new skills. Offering career counselling and mentoring. And helping disadvantaged people into work. Every year, the European Social Fund supports and trains more than 10 million people. The European Social Fund, investing in your future.
The experience at Hillside is so amazing, and because you get a warm welcome when you come into the room, not into the room but into, you know, into the building, and you get this experience that you can't get anywhere else.
The programme has been very good at giving me specific driven goals in which to sort of like channel them and make sure that where I end up is where I want to be.
Most importantly, I think, so far at least, was I attended a course called Goals, and this was a very productive course. It was basically a motivational course. I learned how to interact with people once again, which is something I was lacking in when I first came here, and I found it very inspiring.
The experience was actually interesting, because not only did I gain experience from car mechanics and in the trade I want to do, I actually also learned that the responsibilities of being in a workplace, having to be reliable, get there on time, and sort of just gaining responsibilities of what it'd be like in real working life.
If it hadn't been for the project, where I may have been does not bear thinking about. I've come a long way up the road from desperate, negative thoughts to sitting in front of a camera, telling the world now that with the right help and guidance, the project really does work.
Sustainable energy not only decreases the negative impacts of climate change, but also improves our overall quality of life, providing a secure and cost-efficient energy supply, social regeneration, and new job opportunities. Structural and cohesion funds represent a huge potential to finance sustainable energy projects. In the ongoing programming period from 2007 to 2013, the budget available from structural and cohesion funds allocated to sustainable energy is 2.6% of the total budget, which sums up to 9 billion euros. There are still significant amounts of budget left to be used by 2013, whereby the focus lies on new member states of the European Union. The ESF Energy Invest project was set up to stimulate investments in sustainable energy using structural and cohesion funds. ESF Energy Invest promotes inspiring good practice projects from all over Europe. Here are 10 examples. Feldheim Community, Germany. Total investment for heating system, 1.72 million euro. 36% of the total investment financed through structural funds. The Feldheim Community in Germany realized a project to become a 100% renewable community. Renewable energies offered new job opportunities and a 10 to 20% reduction of energy prices.
Well, what's very interesting is the fact that the Commission doesn't know where the money goes in detail. In fact, no one necessarily does, which is quite striking. But the system is not set up in that way. It's not set up for them to know at the minute level of minutiae who gets the money. So what we've seen is anything from large multinationals that get money, such as IBM. We've even seen some smaller amounts for Coca-Cola or even McDonald's, where you just think, is that a good use of EU funding of taxpayers' money? We've seen other things like companies moving from one member state to another, letting people go, say in the UK or in Germany, moving to Eastern Europe where the labour is cheaper, but getting structural funds to help them out. Obviously, the money is not necessarily given to them to relocate, but ultimately it works out that way, that it helps them do so.